Hey, today I have a word of encouragement for us Christians who or unbelievers who are going through a valley, a really painful season, sorrow, mourning, loss, confusion, despair. I was reading in Psalms 84, and I just absolutely loved what I saw. Psalm 84, 5 and 6 says, "Happy are the people whose strength is in you, God, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. As they pass through the Valley of Baca, they make it a source of spring water. Even the autumn rain will cover it with blessings." And I thought that was beautiful because that's how I hope to be. And that is what I've seen in other people who are true Christ followers, lifelong Christ followers. They seem unmoved by the obstacles and the challenges of life. They have joy through mourning. They have faith through loss. They just have contentment no matter their possessions, no matter their circumstances. They just possess a peace. And that is what this verse is telling me. It comes from putting your strength in God. And so, um, and seeing your life as a pilgrimage, seeing we're here and we're going up here to heaven. Like that is our pilgrimage. And we know that from here to here, they may be valleys and peaks and valleys and plains, but eventually we're gonna go there. And so when we're in the Valley of Baca, um, where it's Baca is representative of weeping. It's weeping like weeping trees. They give off this gloopy sap, these thick tears. So we're in a valley of weeping and mourning and sadness and distress. We choose to make that weeping. We choose to turn that moment, that experience into a spring of water. We choose to use that um, as a way to refresh us, as a way to transform us, to grow closer with God, to seek God's strength even more, to seek um, more understanding about God's character, um, to rely on our faith even more through those circumstances. And in doing that, we're drinking temporarily, we're drinking our own tears, we're drinking on our own um, spring water created by our sorrows. But then it says, even the autumn rain will cover it with blessings. So the autumn rain represents the beginning of the rainy season. Usually it's just the beginning, and it's not till the end of the rainy season that we are blessed that, um, the spring comes, things start to bloom. But no, this says even in the even the rainy season, the beginning of the rainy season will be a blessing. So then if we choose use to take advantage of even our sorrow, even our moments in our valleys. We choose to allow them to sanctify us, to transform us. We allow them to grow us, to become closer to God. Then soon God will bless us. He will send rain, actual rain. We won't have to drink our own tears of sorrow. We will have refreshing rain from the heavens, um, and it'll be a blessing. And it also reminded me of right now I'm reading Job, and I read this today. It said, Job 5, verse 17. So see how happy is the person whom God corrects. So do not reject the discipline of the Almighty. And I'm not even going to go into the whole story of Job. I'll probably do a video on it when I've gone through a little bit more. But um, a synopsis is that Job was actually righteous. He was pretty much perfect as a human being could be, other than Jesus. He was righteous. He loved God. And everything that happened to him, all of the sorrow that happened to him was not his own doing. It was actually a test. And it wasn't a test from God. It was actually the enemy, the devil, was challenging God and saying, "Oh, yeah, of course he's a good guy. You bless him. He has money, he has a house, like he's power, he's healthy. Of course he loves you, but take all that away, he's not going to love you." And so he challenged God, and God said, "Okay, I'm going to let you do what you will with Job because I believe in him. I know him. He's my son and he loves me. And yeah, he'll love me whether he has everything or he doesn't." And yeah, I love Job, but this is very interesting that, um, his friend says, um, do not reject the discipline of the Almighty. And even though this wasn't what was going through, wasn't necessarily discipline in the correct sense of the word. And when you do something wrong, you're disciplined. It was disciplining Job because it was training him in the sense of the word discipline is training. It was showing Job, hey, you love me when everything's going good, when you're at the you're at the peak on the top of the mountain. But what about when you're in the valley? Will you love me the same way? And he does. Job ultimately he does prove um, that God is all knowing and all loving. That God truly does um, have our best in mind, and that Satan he lost that bet, because Job chose God anyway, even after losing it all. Job was found faithful. So it also reminds me of 2 Corinthians 6, where it talks about the ministry of reconciliation. For chapter 6, verse 5, actually verse 3, it says, "We are not giving anyone an occasion for offense so that the ministry will not be blamed. Instead, as God's ministers, we commend ourselves in everything by great endurance, by affliction, by hardships, by difficulties, by beatings, by imprisonments, by riots, by labors, by sleepless nights, by times of hunger, by purity, by knowledge, by patience, by kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by sincere love, by the word of truth, by the power of God, through weapons of righteousness for the right hand and the left, through glory and dishonor, through slander and good report, regarded as deceivers yet true, as unknown yet recognized, as dying yet see. We live as being disciplined yet not killed, as grieving yet always rejoicing, as poor yet enriching many, as having nothing and yet possessing everything." That is how we should be as Christians. That no matter the circumstances, no matter what happens to us, we can still have a faith in God, that we can know that our pilgrimage, that's just the pilgrimage, and our destination is Him, is God. And that can bring us hope through anything and strength. So I encourage you, read those verses. I'll put them down in the notes down below so you can read the chapters for yourselves. But I just pray that you are encouraged no matter what valley you may be going through, that God is there with you in that valley. Um, and he and don't waste the opportunity to see what he's teaching you in that moment, to see what he's trying to grow in you in that moment. Or maybe he wants you to dive deeper and get to know him more personally and his character through that experience. Um, Go closer with him, grow closer to him in those moments, because that's where the growth lies. That is where we are sanctified through the fire. So, yeah, that's all I have to say today. Be blessed.